Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and this is a special podcast for the ASCDI and TR Publications. And I'm very pleased to have with us today Lauren Williams, PCs for People. Lauren, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Doug. I look forward to our discussion.
Well, in learning more about yourself and about your organization this morning, I want to say to everybody that while you might just be learning for the first time about PCs for People, Lauren, like a lot of us, you go right back to the beginnings of the ASCDI, of the secondary market, of the ComDisco days, and many other storied names.
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time in the secondary market for computer hardware, and I'm happy that I've been now with PCs for People for about 3.5 years, using some of my market knowledge to do some good stuff.
So yeah, let's learn about this company that's sort of becoming now an ASCDI asset. What is PCs for People?
So first of all, we're a nonprofit 501c3, and every nonprofit has a mission. Our mission here is around digital equity and sustainability. We'll get into the more specifics of what those words mean in our discussion.
Well, let's talk about that. I guess let's start with the very simple fact that even now in 2024, decades after all of us have been involved in this market for years, there's still many people that basically don't have a PC that works.
Yeah, there's the most recent study I saw is that 40% of low-income households in the United States today lack access to a computer and or affordable internet access. And at PCs for People, we're working to change that.
And I need to remind everybody, but maybe we should, that school just got back. PCs are so needed. You can't do everything on your phone. You need one if you have a kid in school. The kid needs a PC to successfully go to school. You probably need one if you're a senior to order your medicine, to do video visits, to do if you're anybody, to find a job, to do your banking, to order groceries, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. And our computers go to households that fit into all of those categories and more. We're just trying to find those low-income households that lack a computer. It doesn't matter if they're a K through 12 student, a post-secondary student, a job seeker, an upskiller. Everybody needs access to a computer and internet.
Now, meanwhile, on the other end, there's another problem that you're solving, which is there's a lot of old gear out there.
Yeah, so what we try to do is we try to take those retired computers from corporations, from colleges, from government entities, take them and turn them into home computers for low-income households around the country. We're trying to bridge that gap. That's what we do.
Now, Lauren, as a matter of fact, you brought with you a couple of slides to show us about what you guys are doing. So with your permission, I'm going to pull them up here.
Sure.
And everybody, if you've got your phone handy, I guess you can scan that barcode there and get some more information.
Yeah, that'll go to my LinkedIn profile, and feel free to connect on there, or my email address is right there as well.
Wow, I this sort of looks familiar even in my own office.
Yeah, there's lots of places that are this size, and then for larger enterprises, there are warehouses like this, where all of the old computer equipment, telecom equipment, other electronics have been stored to someday get rid of them, or to someday delete the data on them. Not an unusual sight, probably in a lot of enterprises.
And there's so much going on here, more than just it's just a mass of old stuff, right? It's like it doesn't even pay to move it, because there's just there's almost no economic incentive to do anything about the filled up closet with stuff. But there's a little bit of a vulnerability here, because like a lot of that stuff may have valuable information on it.
Absolutely. So most organizations depreciate their computer equipment in 3 years or 4 years. So at the end of that time, it's got a book value of $0. But what it does have is a huge potential liability with the data that resides on the equipment. And we'll get into that in a bit about how we address that safely and securely.
So we got more and more.
Yes.
And back in the day, there's been a shift. There was a day that both of us remember. I'll bring up the Comdisco name again. Back in those days, all of us and many of our at those times clients eagerly sought shelves like this because there was tremendous value on in each of those boards, each of those cards. That's not true now, right?
Well, the value is much less than it used to be percentage-wise, based upon the cost of new equipment and the residual value later on down the road. So I don't think that organizations are really trying to make money with their old computer hardware. They're more about trying to eliminate that liability of electronics going into landfills and data.
Right.
Even the bigger liability of data getting loose in the market. So it's almost gone from becoming an asset to a liability if not handled properly.
And for our larger corporate listeners, and also for people that are like MSPs, channel partners, carriers, and so on, there's two things to think about here, right? It's the loss, the data that could be stolen, and the fact that possibly your organization, or if you're an MSP, your customer, is telling everyone, hey, we're a green organization. You don't want your customer or yourself to be connected to inappropriate dumping, basically.
Absolutely. And there's too many examples of that, of good equipment going into landfills and polluting the earth. And not only is it bad, but it can hit organizations in the pocketbook through fines that they've been assessed.
And hits to your reputation.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know of anyone who does not seen this. You visit a company, even a big company, right? And they've got this or a hospital even, and there's just this stuff sitting somewhere in a corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is you.
Yeah, so that's one of our trucks. So we have trucks like this in 10 different locations around the United States. And what we do is we will come out on site as long as it's within a reasonable distance of one of our locations, and we'll pick up that equipment that's filling the closet, the hallway, the warehouse, the basement, the attic. We'll come in and pick it up with one of the trucks like this.
And this is beautiful, right? It doesn't cost you anything?
Correct. There's no charge for the pickup. There's no charge for the data deletion service. There's no charge for the report about the data deletion that a lot of companies like in case they get audited.
Beautiful. So, and you're taking care of, you're guaranteeing basically that data security. You're also saying, and it doesn't need to just be PCs. I asked about this earlier. You don't have to sit there and divide up. You just basically, here it is, guys.
Exactly. We're a full service electronics recycler. We know that our partners don't want to have to find one partner for the computers and a different one for the monitors and a different one for the printers. We come in, if it's IT related, we'll take it.
So it looks like we got a process here.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We get a pickup request. We have such and such equipment at such and such a location. We dispatch our truck, take it back to one of our 10 centers around the country. Once it gets there, we will take the asset tags off. So if your company has asset tags, and we remove all those, any other stickers we take off. We take out hard drives, although we've updated that process. Sometimes we don't need to take out the hard drives to delete the data. So we take them out to delete data, or we delete the data in place. We provide the reporting back to the donor organization. And then the reason we do all of this is our community impact. We refurbish as many computers as possible. We delete all old software. We re-image with fully licensed Windows 10 or 11. Soon we'll be moving to just Windows 11. That copy of Windows is not the donor's license. We have a relationship with Microsoft to be able to load Microsoft operating systems. And then we start the distribution process in our retail stores, on our website, where we ship anywhere in the country, and through partnerships with social service organizations and other nonprofits that are reaching low-income households.
So this is, I think, actually a big deal, what you just talked about in terms of that the final recipient is getting a very functional machine.
Absolutely, and they get a warranty from us, a 1-year warranty from us, and technical support. So just like if you bought a computer from Dell or Lenovo or HP, you'd call their technical support if you needed help. If you get a computer from PCs for People, you call our technical support.
So it looks like we've got some things here that are big advantages.
Yeah, so if any of these are important to you or to your clients, secure data deletion, saving money, sustainability, and digital equity is the particular area of giving back that we focus on here. If any of those are important to you, definitely let's talk about a partnership with PCs for People.
And drilling it right down into the ASCDI audience, I'm thinking you're able to help an ASCDI company just essentially provide this service for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this looks like what happens at the end.
Yeah, so this is a distribution event. This particular one took place in a school. What will typically happen is we'll get families to pre-register, show their income levels, and then they'll sign up for the type of computer they need, desktop, laptop, different specifications. And then we'll come out with a truck full of the same truck that picked up that hodgepodge of computers. Will come out with a truckload of refurbished, nice, neat computers with all of the needed accessories and distribute at an event like this.
And I think that's very important. It's sort of interesting. It's talking about our history in the ASCDI. You're getting a nice machine at this point.
Yes, absolutely. It's gone through our QC. It's gone through our refurbishing. It turns out we can, of all of the computers we pick up, only about 60 to 65% are usable kind of as is. Now, the remaining 35 or 40% will take 2 to make 1 sometimes, or 3 to make 1, depending what works and what doesn't work. But we really have a very high quality standard.
So there's part donor PCs, and then there's PCs that get to go out there and serve a new customer.
Yep, absolutely.
And again, you're talking about licensed Microsoft stuff, and under the hood, you're ready to go.
Yes, absolutely. So here's our impact. Last year, we were able to distribute 57,000 refurbished computers all across the United States. Because each computer supports more than one person, you can see we supported 140,000 individuals. Wow. This is just in 2023. We kept 6 million pounds of electronics out of landfills, and everything we collect stays out of landfills, even those computers we can't use. We'll harvest some parts, but we make sure that the rest of the computer gets responsibly recycled. And then a little bit about the demographics of our recipients, like 4.5 out of 10 or 45 out of 100 previously had not owned a computer.
So this is a significant achievement, and we were talking about before, that it's easy for a lot of people these days to just make an assumption everyone's got a computer. I not too long ago had the experience of having a child in public school, and I remember thinking, wow, there's a big assumption that a lot of technology is available at home.
Yeah, and like I said, that's not the case. If there's low income households in your community, there's a good chance that 40% of them do not have either a computer or internet or both.
And I think we learned during the COVID era that a phone is not the same as a PC. You need to have a PC to do to do research, to write papers, to do a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, absolutely. We not too long ago, our founder ran into somebody. He got introduced to somebody who was a first generation college student. He worked really hard in high school. He was starting out in community college. He was part of the way through his first year. And our founder learned that he was typing his papers on his cell phone and submitting them. And this kid was really committed. But the very next thing we did was got him into PCs for People and made sure he went home with a computer.
Big deal. It's a very big thing.
Yeah. So a computer without internet, it's like a car without a road. You're not going to go anywhere. So we also provide internet through hotspots at only $15 a month. Once you have to buy the hotspot first, but then it's $15 a month. It's a month-to-month service. So if you need it, and then let's say you move to a different residence, an apartment building that might include internet, you can turn it off and stop paying for it. Let's say in the summer, then you go out and live with grandma for the summer, and she doesn't have internet, you turn the hotspot back on and just pay for those months you use it. Unfortunately, that bottom line there, the Federal Affordable Connectivity Program has ended. Congress keeps talking about funding it again, but it hasn't happened, and I don't see it happening until maybe after the election, but we'll see. So it was at $0 a month for a period.
Lauren, I'm glad this is a huge issue to me. This because as you said, it's great to have a PC, but if you can't get online, you've got a big stumbling block. This is very important also that you guys do this, that what you emphasize there is, I think, something that's overlooked by a lot of people. There are a lot of students these days living in a multi-generational house where maybe the leader of the household is an aging grandparent who otherwise probably wouldn't be on the internet. And so the student on their own have to basically provide their own services.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people say, well, the kid in the household, they're getting a computer from school. A lot of schools have been able to lend a computer or a Chromebook, and then they're coming home to a family of 4 or 5 or 6, and everybody in the family is trying to use the student's computer, and he's trying to get his homework done. So we want to find those families too. One computer in a household of 4 or 5 or 6 is not enough. They should be getting more computers for other household members.
And in these days, this is like when we were growing up, having a car or doing other things. It may be the difference if you're not in school about being able to get a job, apply for a job, or even hold a job.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how anybody can apply for a job without access to a computer. I've seen some online job applications, and I bet they don't work so well on phones.
Yeah, it can't be all done on a phone.
Yeah. So this is just a map of our locations around the country, and the amount of square footage we have in each. So our footprint is pretty good on the East and Midwest, and we're working our way west, opening new locations.
And this is a very thoughtful and careful layout. In other words, you guys are where you are because you're able to do the job you can do where you are. You're not there. In other words, you're not going to a place if you're not able to do the job.
Exactly. We go where there's the need and where there's also you need the supply as well, finding the organizations that'll partner with us to provide their end-of-life computers.
From where I sit, I have a feeling everyone's within walking distance of that. I love that picture of the floor with the monitors and other assets just sitting there behind a door. Someone thought, well, we'll shove it under behind a door, no one will see it. So
yeah.
So we're talking about secure data destruction. There have been incidents in the past where things didn't go well for a company.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that happened in the past. It is no longer current, but this company whose name you see here did not handle their IT asset disposition properly for a period of time. It's been rectified, but they suffered both in reputation and in fines they had to pay because of not handling end-of-life hardware properly.
So there are big consequences. And, today more than ever, right? The vulnerabilities, if you don't have that chain of evidence, it's a big problem.
Right. That's why we offer, like I said earlier, we offer reporting back to our donors, serial number by serial number of all of the items. They had data and certification that the data was deleted securely.
And, come to think of it, it also protects the recipients too. So
Yes.
everybody's being protected at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. So this comes right from the ESG report from one of our good partners, Old National Bank, talking about the equipment that they've contributed and how it promotes sustainability and digital equity. There's a quote from one of our recipients right there as well, and then some statistics about the equipment they've contributed and the environmental impact.
Lauren, let me invite everybody again to I guess take out their phone and take a shot of that barcode there. That gets you hooked up to you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
All right. Well, any last thoughts as we close out this introductory podcast? I have a feeling for most people watching or listening to this podcast, I just have this feeling everyone knows where that pile of stuff is somewhere in their office.
Yeah. And if you know where it is, go take a look at it, get in touch with us. We'll dispatch one of our trucks to come pick it up and provide all that reporting and data deletion services. And then we'll do something good with it. It's going to do a lot more good in the home of a low-income family than sitting in a storage closet somewhere.
Well, Lauren, I want to thank you again on behalf of the ASCDI and TR Publications. I'm so glad you're working with the ASCDI and ITAG communities. This is going to be really interesting. And I'm looking forward to our next podcast. But for now, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Doug.